God won't let you access the benefits until you come to the end of your indulgence period. Like if you're sitting here watching this video and you're still going through this insidious cycle, this slippery slope, where it feels like there is no end to this cycle, maybe it isn't at that end for you. Maybe you haven't gotten sick yet. I remember when I was smoking weed at university and I was spending like £80 a week on weed, which is a lot of ganja. And it was quite an enjoyable period in my youth. I got to indulge. I was steeped in pleasure, in dopamine. There wasn't a moment where I wasn't high. But unfortunately, at the end of my final year, I picked up my usual draw from my dealer, and I was given something else. And it ended up in a mental hospital. I was arrested naked and screaming in my university library, which is an interesting flashback that I get sometimes. Prison spice, it is it's more closely related to a hallucinogen than it is cannabis. It's a synthetic cannabis. Green heroin, they call it on the streets. Bird killer. And I was locked up. I was locked up in a mental hospital for a month. I needed that. I needed to get to that precipice. I don't think I know I couldn't have quit weed without being locked in the closet. That was the equivalent. I cried, I screamed. There were nights where I couldn't even sleep. And you know what the real pain in that experience is? And you would never understand this unless maybe you've been in jail for a long period of time or been in a psych ward like myself, is time moves so slowly. You get boredom is torture. You're being tortured by every single minute feeling like an hour. Like I remember I used to pray on my knees, pray for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just for something to do. Like the monotony is absolutely soul destroying, because what it is psychically is you looking in a mirror at yourself, at your inadequacies. And it is a torturous experience. It really is. I needed that. I remember when my father visited me in hospital, and I'd never been in major trouble before. My father's a very stoic guy, but he was, fairly emotional seeing me in this place. That's how I got this scar. I don't know if you can see it here, because I was they put me in isolation in the first 2 days because it was just absolutely inconsolable. I was the definition of psychotic, and they put me in isolation, which basically is a small room with a mattress in the middle of the room and nothing else. There are windows on one side of the room so people can look in, but you can't look out. And I was just going absolutely skits. And I remember trying to crack my head against the door to get out, and I gave myself this lovely little memento. So I was in a state, but I told my father, and this is the same thing I'd tell you. This needed to happen. You need to get to the end of your rope sometimes. You need to get to the precipice in order for radical behavior to change fundamentally. And if you are still in this insidious cycle, like I was, you may need to get to your equivalent of a psych ward or a bad breakup or some kind of trauma. Trauma, I have an interesting relationship with trauma. Sometimes I think I seek it because I know how psychologically impactful it can be to changing behavior. Like you can achieve radical behavior change if you know how to use trauma to your effect. You really can. Like if you've been abusing nicotine and you're getting heart palpitations and you're worried your heart is going to blow up, that will force you to quit nicotine or, cocaine or meth or whatever the case may be is. Like you need to be violently shaken by God. And that's what I think it is you need to be violently shaken by God until you can access these benefits on the other side. You haven't come to the end of your season. And I would invite you to gorge, to eat and consume and stew in pleasure as much as you can until you are violently ill, until you are traumatized. And that may be the catalyst you need. And that isn't a theory. That is a personal anecdote from myself. That is my personal truth and a fact. Speak soon.